Aussie Stitcher in Texas here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. Here with you with Flosstube number 18. So thank you to all my lovely subscribers who are joining me. Hello to all my new subscribers, welcome. I hope you enjoy what you see here. This is my little corner of the internet where I really only talk about cross-stitching. That is the main hobby that I do. I also do a little bit of diamond painting, but really cross-stitch is what takes up all of my time. And I am very happy about that I am able to get as much stitching in as I did. So today it is, like I said, Flosstube number 18. This is my September update. So everything that I stitched on in September, it is October 1st. So I'm able to say truly, this is what I stitched on in September. I haven't cheated yet and stitched anything yet today. I have a bunch of whips. I have 2 finishes, 1 FFO, 2 new starts, and like I said, a bunch of whips that I worked on. So let's jump into it. Okay, so let's start with my FFO. So I did show this as a finish last month. This is my Awesome Myth by Stitchrovia. I have just put this into a little frame here that I picked up from Michael's. I completed this on a 40 count Verdal from Bestitchme in the color Sand Dollar. So just kind of an off-white, which I'm really happy with. Because it's a 40 count, it's quite small. So this is a 6x8 frame, and this was, I wish I could have gotten a better frame, but this was the only 6x8 I could find at the craft store. I'm sure if I'd gone online and looked at a lot more places, I could have found one a little bit more elaborate, but they're either 5x7s or 8x10s. That seems to be the main ones that are out there. So this was 6x8, which is, I think it's supposed to be used more for like certificates. That was the section I found it in. But that is my FFO, so done. I'm going to gift that to somebody probably at Christmas time. So that's just gonna sit out of the way, protected until Christmas is ready. Now, let's talk about my 2 finishes. So one of these was an unexpected finish, and the other one was a finish that I have been working on for the last couple months. So let's start with the couple of month one. So this is by Autumn Lane Stitchery, the Dark Queen of the Earth. The last part came out in August, which is really just backstitching and beading. And backstitching and beading are not my favorite things in the world. So I just took my time doing that. And what I do is I use my lunch break, because I do work from home a couple days a week. I use that to do those, what I call tedious tasks, because they do have a finite time I can work on it because I have to get back to work. I find I don't get frustrated as much, but here is the completed Dark Queen of the Earth. So let me bring her in. So I did make a couple of changes in the way of, I didn't do all the beading. So around the orbs, there's a lot more white and yellow beads, but because beading and I don't enjoy doing it, I decided to take just those beads out. Everything else is in there that needs to be in there. So those in her skirt, in her arms, around her head, all of that is what's called for, including this giant one here. Have I done that? Wait, where is it? On this side, that one. So she is complete. Not sure what I'm gonna do with her just yet, so she'll just hang up with my other finishes at the moment on a like clothes hook that I use. But I've got to be gentle as I lay her down because of the beads. Ooh, okay. Next up is the unexpected finish. So this was a target for a finish more around December. It's a gift that a friend of mine asked for. She saw me working on it. She asked if she could have it for her sister-in-law. And her sister-in-law turned 40 in September. And I was like, look, I can't get this done in September. There's no way. But as I was working on it, I was like, you know what? I can probably get it done at the end of September. And maybe for an October gift, or wait until Christmas time. So this is my Bella Filipina, Maiden of, oh, and somebody put this in my comments, Tubbataha, I think. Someone put like the phonetic spelling, but I cannot remember. But here she is. So I finished, and this I made a lot of changes in because of my strong dislike of beading, there are no beads in here. I took out all the beading and replaced it basically with Krynic. So like all down here, this is supposed to be beads, this is Krynic. In the coral, there's supposed to be beads, I've got Krynic. I think I did a pretty good job of matching the bead to the Krynic, which I had to do from like my phone, because when I went to my stitchy shop, they didn't have a lot of the beads. You know, Mill Hill was just delayed in getting them their beads. So I was, you know, sitting there on my phone, digging through all the Krynic, and the only one I kind of I wouldn't say messed up, but isn't exact. Let me bring her in. So in her hair, these, I should say, are little crystal things that I picked up from Michael's, and I just glued them on. So they're in her hair, one kind of in the middle of her chest, and then two in her thing. But this is all Krynic. But in her hair, see this blue here? The color is of the bead. I think they call it like peacock, and I just couldn't find a Krynic that I was liking, and it's actually supposed to be, where do I have it? So if you look in here, I don't know if you can really tell, but the blue that's there is supposed to be the blue that's in her hair. But I think I had picked up a Krynic number 8, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing all of this. Like there's a lot of that color in number 8. I'm like, I can do a couple, but I can't do a lot. So I picked another one, but I actually quite like it. It's a treasure braid sparkle, I think they call it, but it was beautiful and a dream to work with. Oh my God, it was so good. And I put it over here too. So let's hope YouTube gets this as my screenshot. So I'll bring it in. Stunning, just beautiful. And I took out a lot of the kind of like stuff that was happening around the outside, and I just don't think she needed it. I think she's beautiful as is. So this is using, as far as the floss goes, so like the DMC, that's all the called for. The Karen Water Lilies, that's all the called for. Where there is Krynic called for, it's all the called for, except for one color, which was like an icy blue, which I had in like a petite treasure braid. So I was like, I'll just use that. And then I bought the other Krynics, and she's on a 32 count Lugana in the color Cersei by Fabrics by Stephanie. So just, I can't stop looking at her. Kind of sad to let her go, but what are you gonna do? I promised her to somebody else, so I will keep my word on that. So those are my finishes. So 2 finishes, and I have had 2 new starts. So my whip count did not go down this month. We stayed the same. I have 12 whips in total, which I am fine with. That's a good number for me. I like that number. So let's move on to the new starts. I decided to start from Madame Chantilly, Celebrate Halloween. So that is that one there. Beautiful. And fun fact about this, I used the website Stitch Fiddle to rechart this, not rechart this, but chart this, so I could then download it to Pattern Keeper, because otherwise it's a paper pattern. I'm obviously not going to show you, but it's, ooh, dropping piece, but it's paper. So I went through and recharted piece by piece into Stitch Fiddle, so it's now in Pattern Keeper, which, yay! I feel like, yes, that took me like a day and a half, just on and off to do, but it's in Pattern Keeper now, and I feel like I work a lot faster from Pattern Keeper, so that's great. So I worked on this for a couple of days, got about 2,000 stitches in, I think, and here is where I got to. Hold on, there we go, that's better. So I've done the top part of the tray, so this is the top, I'm working top down, and then so the tray itself starts here, but all of this is complete up the top. This is on a 40 count Verdol by Bestitchme in the color Bronze Age. It's one of the fabric of the months that I had. And like I said last month, I love working on 40 count. And I think especially for a Madame Chantilly, 40 count is, oh, did I miss this? Oh, I missed a stitch. Oh, look at that. I'll have to fix that. For Madame Chantilly, they are deceptively large. Like that doesn't look like that. Like it looks big, but it doesn't look like it would be huge. But I mean, that's 40 count and that's just the top part of the tray. I'm using all the called for DMC. The only change I have made so far, I suppose 2 changes. In these branches, there's supposed to be like backstitched leaves. And I put them in and I didn't like them. I don't know if it's because it was 40 count, but I didn't like them. So I took them out and I think that's okay. I think they still look really good. And then on the tray every now and then, and it happens throughout the tray, there's either empty spots or like the white should come down 1 stitch. And I thought that looked weird. So I'm just gonna have the tray go straight across. But otherwise, I'm doing all the called for and I will fix that missed stitch that I have. So that was new start number 1 and a good for Halloween one. So I can use that for October. And was it called Dark 13 stitching is what people say. My next new start was a soda stitch. So I have known about soda stitch for a little while. I just didn't really have anything that was catching my fancy. But I was watching Burn Stitches and Jordan the Tattooed Stitcher who had started this like wave of soda stitches. And I thought to myself, I really need to look at those again because I really do like them. And I found one that I liked, which I started, which is the pop-up store Bookstore. This is a full coverage. Everything is stitched, a lot of backstitch. And I know I just said earlier, I don't like backstitch, but this chart, and I've never seen this on another chart, so I don't know if this is only a soda thing or it's just, I haven't come across it before. I'll put up a super zoomed in shot of the chart so you can't really tell. But the backstitching kind of tells you each hole to go into basically. So it's not just a line. It tells you each and everything to go into, which I really like. It just kind of takes out a little bit more of the guesswork. Some of it is pretty obvious when it is just a straight line that you're going 1 across, but every now and then there is one where you're going 2 across. So it's nice that you have that because, I mean, look at it. It is a lot of backstitch and I am backstitching as I go because it just comes to life that much better. And 2, it just makes my life easier at the end. So I am using the same fabric I used my Awesome Myth on, the 40 count Verdol sand dollar, using what was left of that. And here is where I'm up to. So look at that. So I've done backstitching kind of all down here on the floor. I haven't backstitched her yet, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to be able to show you guys kind of like the before and after. But look, it's so adorable. The backstitch just makes things so much more vivid and crisp, and it's a much easier backstitch than what I had to deal with, say, on my Bella or the Dark Queen of the Earth, because it is a lot of, 1 stitch here, 1 stitch there, using the existing possible locations it could go. Not going across like 18 fabric threads to make this weird line. So pretty. And forgive my hanging thread, that's for the back stitch, because it's the floor. I didn't want to end it. I'll just keep using this thread as I move across. So those are my 2 new starts. And I am 50% done with my, this is Pattern Keeper compatible, obviously not for the back stitch, but for the cross stitching. And I just was enjoying this so much. I just kept pulling it out to work on. So I'm at 50% on that of the stitching. Definitely not 50% overall for the piece because of all the back stitching. But for the cross stitching, 50%. So now let's move on to my whips of pieces that have been in existence before. My first one is Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitches. This is what it will look like when it's finished. So pretty. Here is what it looked like the last time you saw it, because I do have that. And here is what I am up to. Look at that, so pretty. This is on a 32 count lugana in an opalescent white. I think it was called Sparkle or something like that. I just picked it up from 123 Stitch. And I mean, I put this bang in the center, so I'm wasting a lot all of this fabric basically. But this is just so good to work on, nice, and I hate to use the word simple because I don't want to like offend the designer or anything, but it's not a lot of color changing, and yes, there's counting because you're doing letters and stuff like that, but it's a little bit more mindless than some of my other pieces. So that was whip number 1, we'll call it, of my whips. Next up, what's on my pile? This is my monthly push for a finish by the end of the year piece. It is Visit Lothlorien by Country Magic Stitch. I picked this up off her website. My goal is to finish this by the end of the year. So what I did, it's Pattern Keeper compatible. So I just, you know, when I started, divided that by however many months were in the year. That said, I needed 1,400 stitches per month, which I am doing. I actually need a little bit less than that now because I did have a couple of months where I went over. But here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. And I am on track to get it finished by the end of the year. Here's where we're at. Oh, let me bring it back. Hold on. Oh, it's trying to make it a little bit easier. So I am all the way down to the bottom, which I have been for a little while, and I am basically just in the Q snap, I'm just kind of working my way down. Go over 1 square, work all the way down. 1 square, work all the way down. So I was trying to do like a stair step method, but you know, at the point I'm at now, it would involve moving the Q snap sometimes during my monthly rotation, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just square down all the way to the bottom. So nice. This is a 28 count Murano that I picked up from, where did I pick this up from? Michael's. It's kind of stiff, and 28 count eats floss like nobody's business. So it goes through it, and ironing it is never fun, but I'll give it a really good iron at the end. Okay. Next up is my Castle Homecoming by the Frosted Pumpkin. This is a stitch along that I am participating in. I picked up the kit from the Frosted Pumpkin's website. So this is, here it is where it was the last time you saw it. I am all up to date. Clue 5 was the most recent one that came out, and I completed it. Here's where we're at. So this is a 32 count Belfast linen in the color Valor by Picture This Plus. And part 5, we came over here with the princess, and I don't know what to, so I'm using all the called for. Like I said, I bought the kit. The only thing I haven't been doing is like the magic, because again, the back stitching doesn't look good. Her hands like blend into her dress. So I don't know if I'm just, should I like change the color or just leave it? Let me know your thoughts. But that's where she's at, all up to date. I did change out the wizard and made him a super white dude because that's what I feel like Merlin is, an old white man telling you what to do. Okay. Alrighty. Next up, we have my small contribution to Sampler September. So I don't really have any samplers. They're not for me. I just haven't found one that I really liked. But I do have from Northern Expression Needlework the Twisted Rainbow sampler that I worked on, because I am doing pretty well with this. So this is my, small contribution to Sampler September. Here is what it looks like the last time you saw it. And here is where we are now. So whenever I work on this, I do complete the color. So I'm not going like band by band, I'm doing color by color. And I am now on where I'm decreasing. So, less and less stitches to do. Because this is the bottom, so this is as long as the piece is, and obviously the width of the piece. And yeah, now I'm decreasing in numbers. This has been called for whip go. That always seems to happen. I work on it 1 month because I'm like, oh, I haven't worked on it in a while. And then it gets called for whip go the next month, which it's not bad. It just means I'll be able to get it finished. So this next color is a purple 3838, I think it is. And I think it's only about 1,500 stitches. So like I said, so it's getting smaller and smaller. But this is so pretty. The way these colors just kind of move together. I am doing the DMC version of this on a 32, no, this is a 28. A 28 count, just black lugana from, I think Rituals that I picked up from 123 Stitch. Forgive me, I'm trying to put these away as I go because otherwise it's a mess at the end. Okay. Next up we have the Fox from Cottage Garden, no, that's not right. Yes, Cottage Garden Samplings, A Year in the Woods. I love this. This is really the only one, I think this and maybe the reindeer, that speak to me of this collection. And I don't know why. I just think they're stunning. And I love it. So here is what it looked like the last time you saw her. I'm calling her Delilah. I don't know why, but here's where she's at now. This, I said last month, was like a mystery linen. I think it actually might be Picture This Plus Mirage, which is the called for. I was watching somebody else who had, I think it was Vicky, the Virginia Stitcher, and she had put up a piece in Mirage, like one of her whips, and I was like, oh, I think that's what I have. And if not, it's very close to it. And it is a tight weave, which Picture This Plus is. Because I didn't know what it was, I counted, and it's more like a 35, 36 count, which makes me think it's a 32 count Picture This Plus. But that's where she's at. So pretty. I did so many of the trees, which are a bear, but so pretty. And then I'll come down. The tail and the chest, I can't wait to kind of get out of, but I don't think I'm gonna, like these things, I don't like it. It just kind of like, it makes it so much more thinky. I'm gonna think a lot more when I'm doing them because I've already made a couple of where I shouldn't, you know, put a stitch in I shouldn't have and I was too far past to unpick it and things like that. Okay. Another piece that I worked on was my second Whip Go call for the month for September. So my Whip Go calls, I should say, for September were this piece, which is by Autumn Lane Stitchery, to work on for 1,000 stitches, and a Fancy Lady to work on for 5 days, which was my Bella Filipina, which is what kind of got me close enough to a finish that I decided to finish her. But this is Wicked Witchcraft by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Here is what it looked like the last time you saw it. I am doing this on all the called for. It is a 32 count Naiad by Under the Sea Fabrics, a Lugana, I believe. Here is where she's at now. Oh, I don't need to go that far back. So this is only using 5 colors, 939 being the most predominant. And then I made one change of the yellow in the candles, and it will be over in the cauldron as well, to a fancy floss that I had from Color and Cotton. Just got a little bit of variegation in it and kind of that yellowy lime green world. I thought it looked kind of witchy. So that's Wicked Witchcraft. And I may work on her this month as well because it's October and it's a Halloween piece. Ooh. Okay. And then the final piece I worked on for the month is my full coverage, or my other full coverage, I should say, my Heaven and Earth Designs full coverage. It is Alternative Reality by Josephine Wall, a piece I resisted for a very long time because it's so large, but she is just so beautiful that I decided to work on her. I am doing this on a 18 count easy grid. Here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. Let me just tidy this up a little bit. I got a lot of hanging threads. Here's what it looks like now. So I am working my way across the top row. My plan is to go all the way to the top and then like snake my way. So I'll get to the end, and then rather than come back to the start like a typewriter, I'll stay on that side, go down, come across, go down, come across, go down, come across. I just feel like that'll work for me. Now my plans with this piece, I made the mistake of doing the math. and said, okay, if I did 1,000 stitches a month, originally my goal was to do about 600, but I thought if that averaged out to about 1,000 a month, maybe a month here and there where I do 2,000 or 3,000 stitches if it's called for in WIPGO. Let's just say that's 15,000 stitches a year. How many years would it take me? And it was 12 years. And I don't want this to take 12 years, but at the same time, I do not want to work on it to the point where I burn myself out on it. So I am going to try and do about 1,500 stitches a month minimum, but then still have it in my WIPGO. But in my WIPGO, I'm going to put about 3,000 or 4,000 stitches for that month. I am doing this in the Royal Rose method, which I'm really, really enjoying. I have tried to do full coverage in like the 10 by 10 kind of stair-steppy block, and it just wasn't for me. I was constantly going outside my 10 by 10 because sometimes I just felt like that, you know, it was one stitch or something like that. But doing the 10 by 20, that one stitch might become 5 stitches, which I just feel like is a little bit more worth it, I suppose, to me. And then parking, and then I am going, not rogue per se, but if in the bottom, like where I would park it, if there's only a couple of stitches, I will do those stitches. So you can see, like over here, I've done some of those stitches. That was so I could end the thread and not have a hanging thread for a while because of how I'm gonna snake it through. Just for when I come back is gonna be 2 or 3 stitches. So I am completing those to be able to not have the hanging thread. And those are all of my WIPs that I worked on for the month. I am going to talk briefly about haul. I didn't buy a lot this month. I have a couple of patterns and one of my fabric of the months. So one of my fabric of the months is from Under the Sea Fabrics. I have a 32 count lugana, I think, yeah. And this color is Ashura? I have no idea, but look at this. This is washed out so badly. What if I bring it back? Maybe? No, it is coming up. It is not showing up really well, but it's so pretty. It's like greens and blues and like a purple. Oh, stunning. What if I put it up against this white? Oh, that's a pattern. I can't show you that. Here we go. Is that better? Kind of. Okay, so that's one of my fabric of the months. My second fabric of the month is from Bestitchme, and that arrives tomorrow, of course, but I didn't want to wait to fill. And then the patterns that I bought is Winter Hot Cocoa by Madame Chantilly. Nice and pretty. I'll chart that too. And then a couple of more soda stitches. So there's this one. I am not getting married. I thought it was adorable, and I can always one day potentially give it to someone who is getting married. And I don't have any plan to start that anytime soon. And then another one of the pop-up stores, which is the cafe, because I'm enjoying working on the one I have. I had to buy another one, and she was having a sale. But that is my haul. Not a lot. I am trying to control myself. And then let's look at plans. So plans for October, the 2 WIPGOs that were called were 14 and 19. For me, 14 on my board was to work on my Faces of Fairy, which I finished like June or July. So that's basically a free spot for me. I didn't replace it on my WIPGO. I just like called it as finished before it was called, but that gives me a free spot. And the other one was my Twisted Rainbow Sampler, to work on that for one color. So that'll come out again. My Visit Lothlorien will come out again to get my 1,400 stitches on it for the month. My Alternative Reality will come out as well to get my stitches on there for that. And then I think I'm going to work on, at least for a day or so, all of my Halloween pieces. So I only have 3, I think, 2 of which you've now seen. So the Wicked Witchcraft and the Celebrate Halloween from Madame Chantilly. And then I'm also doing the Leela Studios Halloween Quaker. It being October and it being the spooky month, I want to work on those. And then I think I'll just work on whatever else. I feel like the Castle Homecoming clue will come out, so I will do that to try and keep up with that. But, you know, I'm gonna have a lot of time to work on just what I want, which is what we all like to do. But that is everything. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. If you could like and subscribe this video, I would really appreciate it. And enjoy your October. If you are a Halloween decorator and celebrator and all of those things, I hope you have an amazing month. And when it comes to Halloween, eat all the candy. Do not control yourselves. That's what Halloween's all about. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.